Welcome to this video. My background is that I've been flipped teaching since about 2011. Now, some people call it flipped instruction, reverse instruction, flipped teaching, all sorts of different language that they use as they talk about how a classroom runs. And the basic idea is what used to be classwork is now homework, and what used to be homework is now classwork. I teach and have taught primarily in a mathematics classroom. And so what I'm going to talk to you about is a little bit about, first off, the why and why nots of flipped instruction. And what you're going to see from me today is very similar to how I might run a video that I run for my class. But to start off with, the why and the why not. The first question I get when I've gone and talked and presented and met with teachers, they talk about what's the overall cost? And the answer is it depends. All right, so let's start with a simple one, $0. All right, you have at your fingertips Google Sites as a hosting site for doing a website to put all your videos. If you also create for yourself a YouTube account at no cost, you can link your videos, embed them in your Google site. A lot of places that might even restrict access to YouTube because your district server blocks it for some, so it's set up that way either as a district or your school, or maybe it's a statewide regulation that YouTube is blocked directly. In many cases, if your YouTube video is directly embedded in your website, you do not have to go to the YouTube site because it's in your Google site, which is not blocked. And they can still watch just your videos. So we're not having kids out there going on and surfing around on YouTube during the class time, or during their homework time, I should say, to watch videos. And then also, if you're wondering how do you make a video, probably the quickest and cheapest is to do QuickTime. And QuickTime has a video record option for screen capture. So let's take a look here at QuickTime Player, and here they talk about just the quick instructions for a QuickTime Player to record your computer screen. And a lot of computers come with it automatically, so you can download it for free, but it's right here in getting at choosing new screen recording. Now, does it have all the bells and whistles and all the options for doing a lot of editing? No, but it's a way to get started, and when I got started, that was the quickest and easiest way to get going on it. All right, so that's your $0 option. Now, for those of you that have an iPad or have access to an iPad, there are a few different screen capture apps that you can get out there. I started and have really loved Explain Everything. And I have this pulled up here, the app here. That's what the little symbol looks like when you go to iTunes and you download it onto your app. And when I started, it was a much simpler version than what this is, and I think it was actually $2.99. It's now $9.99. But I started out, and I probably have 50 or 60 videos out there that are all done on Explain Everything. It's an app that I've loved, and as they've grown and expanded, I've loved to watch them grow and expand. The latest version allows you to do some animations within your videos. You have a lot more editing capabilities. You can go back and re-record and rewrite and redo different slides as you work your way through. Fantastic option. For those of you then who are thinking, I've done this and I'm looking for that next level, it's probably a little bit more than your next level, but TechSmith has a program called Camtasia, and that's what I use for the most part. And Sticker Shock is right there. Now, I happen to go to a conference, and I paid for the conference to attend, and I got a free copy of Camtasia for going, and the conference itself was less than the $1.99, so I got the program, I got some instructions on how to use it. It was on flipped instructions, so I started building networks. It was a fantastic opportunity. I came away with quite a bit. To that, I've added now a Wacom. Why am I doing this? I'm doing it for the kids, and why? Because students who miss class. That's how I got started in this process. They're missing class because they're gone on field trips with school. They're gone with sporting events for athletics. They're gone on family vacations during the school year. All these different reasons, and then they always bring me the little slip and say, what did I miss? And the answer is, I can't recreate what you missed. But the answer is now, I can. I actually created ahead of time. It gives the advantage to the kids who then can pause their teacher on your own time. You have some kids in the class who always are asking questions, always asking questions, always asking questions. Then you get the one kid who finally asks a question only to find out that they're asking the same question that someone else already asked. And you as a teacher, you head down and you wonder, what's going on? Why aren't they paying attention? The answer is they're all paying attention, but slightly differently. So here your kids get an option to pause the recording as they're going along and write some things down as they're taking notes, ask questions that they have. And in another video, I show how it actually works in the classroom. So they actually have to take notes and they have to ask questions. But all that happens when they're not in the classroom. So that way, when they're in the classroom, I can be doing coaching, where I'm actually coming alongside as they do the problems themselves, as they encounter their challenges. I can be there to encourage, I can be there to ask questions, I can be there to guide. In some cases, I can reteach, I can push some of those kids who are asking those questions at the next level to go a little bit beyond. Just like you would do in a coaching setting, if anybody out there is a coach. What used to be homework, I now call problem sets. We're going to tackle problems in the classroom. We're going to do things together. We're going to do labs together. All of my preliminary work and lab explanation is in a video, so they don't have to go through that in the classroom. They come in and they hit the ground running. All right. What used to be what I did in the classroom is now homework. And if I can take an entire classroom and I can present all the material I need to present without being interrupted, without having to worry about when the next class is coming in, without getting asked the same questions multiple times, what used to take me a half an hour takes me about 10 minutes. I was shocked by that at first, but the reality is I can get all that instruction done. Now they can take their time and they can ask questions as they're watching through it themselves as they do their homework. All right. But as they're doing that homework, then they're doing it at their own time. Maybe it's before school, maybe it's after school, it's at lunch, it's on their phone, it's on the way to the game that they're missing class for. Sometimes they're working ahead. Now, all of this said and done, would I go back to the way I've done it before? Absolutely not. Now, up here, the last cost that I didn't list that I'm going to come back to is time. To get started, it takes time. Don't get freaked out, especially if you've been a veteran teacher and you're thinking, that's the last thing I have. So over time, I have not gained time, but I've been more efficient in my time. It takes time at the upfront to make all the videos and to do all of the things that you need to do to figure out how to operate the programs that you like to operate. But it's a matter of finding your rhythm within that. By recommendation, 1 lesson per chapter, start that way. So I started my first chapter by doing 2, and the kids were so excited about that that I essentially did the rest of my lessons for the entire year, and I convinced myself that I could invest that time that year and wouldn't have to in the future years, which was true. But my recommendation is start small, give yourself a small window of opportunity to be successful, and then move forward the same way you do it with your classroom and with your kids. Thanks for listening.